Hello, Dr. Joe here of the drjoe.com and the 2020from.com. Today, I thought I'll do a quick video regarding diabetes and mangoes. The reason for this is following my last video where I talked about the 11 fruits that diabetics need to be careful about. I had a lot of queries regarding mangoes. And so I thought I'll do a video specifically about diabetes and mangoes. Now, a lot of the people who sent me the queries were of the opinion that I erroneously omitted mangoes from that list. Well, the truth of the matter is mangoes do not belong to that list, and I'm going to explain to you why shortly. So the real question is, can diabetics eat mangoes? Well, the short answer to that question is yes, they can. Yes, they can. But there are a couple of things that you may want to be careful about when consuming mangoes as a diabetic. The first thing to note is that mangoes have a glycemic index of 51. So foods that have glycemic index of 55 and below are usually considered low glycemic index foods. So by definition, mangoes are a low glycemic fruit. So they are okay for you to consume as a diabetic. Now, you may argue that, well, 51 is very close to 55. So from my point of view, I would say mangoes are borderline okay for you to consume as a diabetic. And that is why you need to be careful and obey some of these rules that I'm going to be talking about shortly. So what are these rules? Well, the first thing is you want to avoid dried mangoes as a diabetic. The reason for that is dried mangoes are going to have a higher glycemic index than the 51 that the fresh mangoes do have. So you want to stick to fresh whole mango fruits, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as a diabetic, you want to watch the portion size of your mangoes. So I talked about, in the other video, I talked about how you should restrict yourself to having 1 serving of the fruit per eating session. And that works well because by so doing, you'll be reducing the glycemic load that you're consuming in one eating session. Now, you can have another serving 4 to 6 hours later. It doesn't matter because you are spreading the glycemic load. You are spreading your glycemic index such that you avoid blood sugar spikes. So limit yourself to having 1 serving per session, okay? So what is 1 serving? Well, like I said in the other video, 1 serving is half a mango fruit, okay? 1 serving is half a mango fruit. So you want to limit yourself to having half a mango fruit if you're diabetic, and you can have another one 4 to 6 hours later. Now let's move on to rule number 3. In rule number 3, and I talked about this in the last video, you want to be looking out for the ripening stage of the mango. So for instance, this mango here I bought about a week ago and it's been in my refrigerator since then. This is not the mango for you as a diabetic, okay? This is not the one. This mango I bought today, okay? This mango is just at the beginning of the ripening stage. This is the one you want, okay? This one is too ripe. This one is the one you want. And the reason for this is this. In this mango, you have what we call polysaccharides, okay? More polysaccharides than simple sugars. Polysaccharides are harder for your body to digest. So when you consume this, you have a slower rise in your blood sugars compared to this one that is very, very ripe. This one has more simple sugars than polysaccharides, the complex carbs. So this one has more simple sugars, the glucose and the fructose. So when you consume this, you're going to have a steeper rise in your blood sugar levels. So that's the reason you want to stick to the fruits that are just beginning to ripen. And this, of course, includes things like mangoes. So this stage, this is okay for you as a diabetic. This one that I've had for a week, it's not ideal for you because it's going to be too sweet. This is okay, and it's all right because if I press on it, it still gives me that dimple. So this is the one you want. This is not the one you want, okay? So, and like I said, this applies to other fruits like bananas as well, okay? You want to consume your fruits, the mangoes and the bananas, at the stage where they're just beginning to ripen. And this rule is very, very important. So that's rule number 3. Now, in rule number 4, which I also talked about in the other video, all I want you guys to do as a diabetic, if you want to consume your mangoes, is to pair your mangoes, if you're still worried by the way, is to pair your mangoes with a protein, okay? So you can have your mango with these cashew nuts. It doesn't have to be specifically cashew nuts. I just love cashew nuts, so it could be peanuts, it could be hazelnuts, it could be pistachios. Just have your mangoes with nuts, okay? I love cashew nuts, so I'll have mine with cashew nuts. It's not just the raw nuts, you can also have it with the nut butter. So I've got a cashew nut butter here. You can also have your mangoes with your nut butters. It works, and the reason for that is the protein will slow down the sugar absorption from the mangoes, so that way you can eat your mangoes safely. The other thing is you can pair your mangoes with vegetables as well. It all works. So for instance, if you're making a smoothie, make sure you have some vegetables in there with the mangoes. That's going to slow down the sugar absorption from the mangoes. So if you're able to implement all of these rules as a diabetic, you can consume your mangoes safely without having to worry about blood sugar spikes. It's very easy. You don't have to look at mangoes as a diabetic in the supermarket and turn the other way. You need to eat mangoes, but follow these rules and you should be fine. Okay, so hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, please give video a thumbs up, please like the video, and also please share this video with all diabetics that you know. If you got any questions regarding mangoes and diabetes, go ahead, leave your questions down below, or leave any other comments down below. I think that's about it for today, but before I sign out, I practice what I preach. So I've got my cashew nut butter here, so and I've got some mangoes here as well, already sliced up. So I'm just going to apply some cashew nuts to cashew nut butter, I should say, to the mango slice. Smear the nut butter, okay, on the mango, and then off you go. Okay, lovely. See you next time.